I'm going to introduce a bunch of our wonderful panelists here who have come to join, to support, to tell you a little bit about what's going on here this summer. And I'm going to start with Mary Gatterud, and she is the operations coordinator here. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Vanessa. My name is Mary Goddard. I am the creative content and operations coordinator for Kepler College. So I operate behind the scenes to ensure a smooth workflow. And if you have any technical issues as a student, then I'm generally the one who tries to solve them.
Great, thank you. We cannot live
Next.
without Mary. And we also have with us here Enid Newberg.
I've been hanging around Kepler forever and an age. And as president at one time, and now having the fun part where I get to be an instructor, particularly in some of the fundamentals and some of the electives.
Great. And when I went through the program, Enid was one of my esteemed instructors and has taught me quite a lot of what I know today. We have also with us here Carol Tebbs.
Hello, everyone. I might add something about Enid Newberg. She was at the table when Kepler was just an idea and got started. So she's been from the beginning. I'm a Kepler past president as well, but I've been teaching with Kepler with my pleasure. But I am particularly now focusing on my specialties are rectification and sacred literature. So those two classes are coming up in the summer term. So 5-week classes, but you will learn a bit about rectifying, getting the birth time correct. So
very important skill, because there will be clients that come to you with no birth time, especially if they're not from the United States. I am pleased to also introduce Morgan Garriott, who is an instructor for RN 104, and that is the Fundamentals Practicum. Morgan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Morgan, as Vanessa said. I have been a student here at Kepler for the last 3.5 years. I have moved up from getting my diploma to obtaining my advanced diploma, and I am now an instructor. I'm co-teaching RN 104, which is our natal practicum and synthesis. I'm co-teaching it along with Tamara McGillivray, and we're kind of the last stop on the train, the natal train, that is, for the natal fundamentals. And we teach the synthesis, a little bit about getting into how to open the chart, get into the chart. We also teach some basic consulting skills, and we have a focus on answering client questions as they arise. We have a really great class, and we hope you come and enjoy the practicum with us.
So it's a fantastic class, and it is where, by the time you get to RN 104, you've had the fundamentals in 101, you have gotten some additional layers in 102, you've gotten the real, bells and whistles, sort of specialty natal techniques in 103, and in Morgan's class, you get to finally put it all together, put it into work, and practice those techniques and see how fantastic they are. And we also have with us, Alex Trenoweth, our Director of Education. Alex.
Hey, everybody. I hope you're all well. So what I'm bringing to the menu is a research course. And I'm really, really excited about this because this is going to put us on the map. So I've been interviewing some of our top researchers, Robert Curry, Nikki Smuts, Chris Mitchell, and Nick Campion. And we are really putting together a great course that will be the final paper for the diploma. And I'm really, really excited about this.
Great. Thanks, Alex. I'm going to call on you a little bit later
Okay, that's okay.
when we get to the slide about what you're doing.
Okay.
And we have Inga Thornell here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. I teach the history modules, the astrological heritage. I co-teach astromythology with Stevie Lowe, and I co-teach counseling and relationships with Karen McCauley.
And we also have Karen McCauley with us.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something?
Oh, Inga already said it. That's okay.
Okay, well, just know that you're in good hands if you come and join their classes. All right, so we have a question here. If I want a certification, can I just start taking classes and then apply for the certification once I fill the requirements? Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through what Kepler has to offer and how it's kind of set up here. So why choose Kepler College? There are a million reasons. This is just a few of them, but one of them is the small class sizes. When you first enter into the fundamentals track, there might be 30 people in a class, something like that, or smaller, and you get the advantage of that is to have a lot of personal attention from your instructors. If the class is 30 people, you're probably going to have at least 2 instructors, 2 main core instructors, and also a TA. So that way you have a lot of different people to ask questions from, and you also get a few different points of view. Another one is classes are in real time. So although we do record them, there are live classes every week, and they're live conversations, live interactions, live, kicking around the charts, and yeah, just you can just ask questions as we're here. And you build the community that way, and you meet your peers, you meet your fellow students online, and you can make a lot of long-lasting relationships. Direct feedback on assignments. So there are assignments every week, there are quizzes every week, and your instructors will go in and read your work and guide you. They'll encourage you where you're going right. They'll guide you where, if you need a little bit of, feedback on how to get more accurate. That way you can develop your critical thinking skills. We're going to ask you to really go deep into some of this material and think about, why it's the why of it. A lot of astrologers that are self-taught, they may, read a lot of things and you find yourself looking things up and you don't necessarily understand the why. Here at Kepler, we're going to strip everything back and you'll really understand how these techniques work, and you'll be able to develop your own way of entering the chart and specializing eventually. That brings us to building your astrological practice. So while there are a lot of technique-based classes here in the program, there's also a whole track about building your professional practice. Whether that's about, how to develop your YouTube presence, or, counseling skills, or there's even a course this summer called The Business of the Business, how to manage your time, set your, fees, how do you maintain boundaries, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, ethics. So it isn't just the techniques here at Kepler, there is so much more. All the classes are recorded. So if you miss a class, or if you're working that day, you can catch up with the recording, or if you're in a different time zone. That said, there are a lot of classes where you are required to attend live for practicums. So depending on what class you're in, there are some classes that are required live, but you will have access to any of the recorded material or the classroom material for 3 years. And that's a plus. Is there anything anyone here on the panel wants to add to that?
I think one of the best parts is not just multiple instructors from class to class, but having multiple instructors within the class. Because then you immediately get people going, well, my style is to do it this way. Well, I do this way, and this is why, and this is why. And it's it really helps in developing your interpretive capabilities because you get to see the options, you get to engage with the interaction of why those options might be chosen over a different one. And it, even as an instructor, I find it's really rich having that interaction.
Oh, absolutely. And different instructors have different specialties or a different way that they get into the chart or certain things that they focus on. And so I totally agree with you. It's a much richer experience to have multiple instructors, like you said, not only across the whole program, but within individual courses. So that brings us to, what are these courses? The gateway here is the fundamental certificate. That is 40 weeks of intense study on the natal chart. This is the basics. In fundamentals 1, we make sure that you've got all of the puzzle pieces, all of the building blocks. We strip everything back. We're looking at element, mode, polarity, the planets, the aspects, the houses. This is your toolkit for everything that's going to build on that later. And fundamentals 2, you start to use those. You're building it, you're getting a little more confident with what these mean. We're going into a little bit more about dignities and what makes these planets stronger or weaker. How do we know what they're going to do? And 103, you're going to get even more fun. I don't know. There's a lot of specialty techniques in there. We get into, declination, things that it's beyond the basics. It's not things that you're necessarily going to pick up on your own in self-study. And then we get finally at the end of this to RN 104, and this is Morgan's territory, where you start to synthesize and see how all of these bits and pieces really can apply to a person's life. Anything you want to add? Any of our panel here? Karen?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that there is not a Kepler method for reading a chart. And what we're trying to help students do is develop their own methodology, which is one of the reasons that we expose them to so many different techniques and tools throughout these classes.
That's a great point. And, we want it so that you don't have to look anything up, that you absolutely are developing your own approach to this ancient material. What happens after the natal foundation, the fundamentals? Then everything starts to move. If you go into the predictions certificate, this is where we get transits, progressions, the solar returns. We know now a little bit about the natal potential. The question becomes, well, when is any of it going to happen? So there's 30 weeks of intense study to look at how the chart starts moving and developing. For this certificate, there are 3 required 5-week classes. This is transits, 5 weeks of progressions, and 5 weeks of solar returns. And then you can choose either rectification, or you can choose the practicum, which is applied forecasting. And that is, again, where you start to practice these techniques and, getting used to possible client scenarios. People are going to come to you with specific kinds of questions, specific kinds of situations that they're looking for astrological answers. And this will help build your confidence and start to understand what that really means, what that's like. And then we have some electives in there. It could be 2 of any of these. And working with the moon is a fantastic class. The moon is the timer in the chart. It's the soul in the chart. And there's a lot of specific techniques that really highlight the moon. There's electional astrology. What's a good time to start a certain kind of a project, sell a house, get married. There's also ancient predictive techniques and application. There is zodiacal releasing. So, we've got a lot of traditional techniques here, mundane astrology. For elections, rectification, this is what Carol was talking about. So if there's rectification up here as the requirement, that is, I think, Carol, is that a 12-hour search?
It's a 6-hour search.
Oh, okay.
That's the one that most people would prefer. 24-hour search is with no birth time at all.
So the 6-hour search is if you know kind of when it is, but your chart isn't quite working, and Carol can help you narrow it down until you get a chart that works. And then the 24 hours is you have no idea. I have taken this class. I took it more than once, actually, because there's quite a few people in my life that have no birth time, and it's pretty intense. But once you get a chart that works, it's very satisfying. We also have horary astrology. That is, just answering a question. And mundane astrology, that's going to be focusing on world events. So very, very exciting, this 30 weeks. What does this all add up to? Kepler's professional diploma. So this is the KPDA, and it is 130 weeks in total. This contains the fundamental certificate, the 40 weeks, which is 30 weeks plus the 10-week practicum. There's the prediction certificate. That's where we get all the timing techniques. There's chart calculation. Enid, do you want to say a little bit about chart calculation?
Chart calculation is where you get to realize meditation and mysticism can also land in numbers, because it's showing you it's kind of like taking off the cover of your computer and seeing the guts. You get to see what's underlying, how you're putting your chart together, and participate in actually creating a chart through the math. Very simple, basic, add and subtract, a little multiplication, a little division, and the chart unfolds underneath your hand as you're doing all this. And it's very, very useful. You can't look at the chart the same way after you've taken chart calculation.
And if there's one thing you learn in chart calculation, you get very, very acquainted with how fast things are moving or not. And I found that very solidifying in my own experience. We also have astrological history. Inga, do you want to say something about history?
Well, we teach the history of kind of the world and Western thought with astrology added back in, the way everyone got it before now. So yeah, pre-science to the ancient sciences. Yeah.
And I have taken Inga's classes, and I can highly, highly recommend them.
Oh, thank you.
Really thought they were so much fun, and I got so much out of just, like you said, like the getting acquainted with the huge history and marveling at how people figured any of this stuff out and how they were using it. And it's very, very rich.
Well, and how it's so
techniques came from where. Yeah.
Yeah. And also suddenly realizing how much underpinning of the culture that says, oh, astrology, and turns up their nose, that
Right.
so much of it is actually based or in its origins on astrologers.
Absolutely.
And for so many, thousands of years, astrology was sort of a life or death. You had to answer questions. There was no other way. You really had to be able to get the answer right. Astronomy for astrologers, that's 10 weeks of looking at the live sky and, understanding, I don't know, how do you want to describe this? This is like the where of everything, where are these planets? How fast are they moving? What's going on with them? It's very interesting, because I think that, now you just put some data into your software and up comes a circle. And I think the astronomy really starts to anchor it to the universe. Or at least that was my experience. There's consulting and counseling, 10 weeks of that. This is very, very important. And I might throw the mic to Karen and Inga if you want to say something about the importance of those classes.
Yeah, every interaction with a client involves a relationship, the forming of a relationship. And so the consulting counseling classes have to do with the issues that come up in forming a relationship, forming rapport, ethical dilemmas, boundary issues, etc. So we have a lot of fun in that class, actually, and a lot of self-discovery.
Mhm.
Definitely. A lot of understanding our own filters as well,
Mhm.
trying to learn to put those aside. Ethics is always very important when you're dealing with such sensitive topics. And so there's 5 weeks of that specifically, but also I think ethics is woven in throughout all of these classes. How to use the astrology ethically, for the good, things that cross boundaries, things are just inappropriate, and understanding the difference. And electives, excuse me, the electives are where we can have some fun. You can go off the beaten track into some of these really, really exciting classes, like the alternative tradition classes, or some of the maybe the health related classes, astro mapping, things like that. There's a lot of really exciting stuff there. And so that, or you can keep going. If that is not enough for you, you can add an extra 60 weeks of advanced study for a total of 190 weeks. And this is going to tack on 5 weeks of horary astrology, answering questions, the essential dignities. How do you know how capable these planets are, or what the outcomes are likely to be? Mundane astrology. This puts everything into the larger context of the world events. Professional development. Now that you're an astrologer, putting yourself out there with grace and skill and a professional, I feel like this is so important when for so many years astrology was on the fringes, and I think that's really changed so much in the last 10 years. And giving this a professional anchoring, and 5 weeks of rectification, which Carol spoke about, and research. So Alex, do you want to say something about research?
Thank you. Sorry, I'm so excited about doing the research. I jump in very quickly and I'm very, very excited about what we're doing, this module that we're doing, because we're doing different types of research. So we're doing, Omari and I are messaging back and forth about different things we're going to be doing, but we're going to do qualitative research, quantitative research, action-based research, historical-based research, and we're pulling it all together. And what we really want to do is end up with a paper that is a really good BA paper that could also be used as a sort of an entry based for a master's degree. Obviously, doing what we do, the natural thing is to do the MA in Cultural Astronomy and Astrology with Nick Campion, who will be talking to us in this course. But I'm always so excited about thinking about how astrology can be respected, and how we can get people to think beyond us just being star sign astrologers, and about being proper researchers. So this is what I'm trying to build on, and I'm very excited to be given this opportunity that we can do proper research, and I'm trying to encourage proper essays, in our research, so we have a proper introduction, methodology, proper, looking at what we've been researching, and a proper conclusion. So I'm all about research and making it acceptable, making astrology acceptable to the academic world.
Thank you. And do you want to maybe say a little bit, well, I guess maybe in a second, I'll ask you to say something about the final demonstration of learning. But also there is for this advanced professional diploma 30 additional weeks of concentrated study in one of the following areas. So this can be a deeper dive into counseling and relationships or professional development. Astro mapping is a super exciting certificate where you learn about local space, you learn about astrocartography. Where is the best place to go to find love or work or fame? How do you get the most out of your chart? Alternative traditions, this is I think there's the Mesoamerican class there. There's a bunch of, I can't remember off the top of my head what else is in the alternative traditions. Do you remember, Inga or Karen?
Vedic?
Yeah, we had Vedic classes, right?
The Vedic classes. And there's also the Astrological Heritage. Those are the history classes, and the Astrology of Healing. That's a new addition to the classes. And this is where we start to get into the health, what we can expect from health. And then once you have this additional 60 weeks, there's a final demonstration of learning. Alex, do you want to add something there? This is where you can either put together like a showcase, a webinar or something like that. You can write Alex, help me out here. What did you say? It's
We were talking about what we want to encourage is looking at different resources and bring them together. So we're not talking about book reviews. We're talking about what do we call it, Vanessa? We called it about comparative analysis.
Yes.
So we're looking at a more academic way of bringing our knowledge together. And it's what I found challenging when I first became director of education was that there was no standardization. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to standardize things so that we have proper essays that can come in that we're getting, and that these essays can be used to be a step into like a master's degree or maybe a different bachelor's degree, but it's just bringing in proper research. It's what we're trying to, what I'm hoping that we can bring in.
And the final demonstration of learning is where you start to strut your stuff.
Yes,
this is where
exactly.
you start to prepare. And, if you think you're going to go out there and start giving talks, if you're going to, if you see yourself on the podium, this is where you can start to polish those skills and, join the community.
But strut yourself I mean, from my point of view, in an academic way, in that we can be proud of what we do, proud to be astrologers and proud to be on the academic stage.
Absolutely.
Vanessa, you might mention the Toastmasters.
Yes, we have that coming up. Absolutely. I'm going to answer some of these questions here. So delineation synthesis seems to be the next class offered at the 100 level. Does it apply to any certificate or is it recognized as an elective? Where does it fit in? Enid, do you want to answer that question?
Yes, this is a course for someone who maybe knows already a fair amount of astrology. They want to get into the program. They don't think they need a full 10-week from 101 because they do have a fair amount of background, but they want to put it together and know they have what they need to continue on. And so it is a concentrated version and that focuses a lot on the synthesis, on pulling together your basic core kinds of symbols and how to keep clear as to what each role is played by each one as you're doing your interpretations. So it's kind of for those who are not interested in the program but just want some way to pull it all together, it works really well. And for those who want to enter the program, it is a way, if you've already got a background and know your basic symbols, but just don't feel comfortable at all in trying to develop your interpretation yet.
And so, Enid, does this delineation synthesis, is this an alternative to the 101 class? And then
It can replace the 101 class. So if you pass the final exam in that, then you have essentially passed the 101 class.
and that way you haven't missed anything. You haven't skipped over anything that we are presenting in 101. But if you've been self-taught for a lot of years, you may just want to, make sure without going through the 10 weeks.
Yeah, we want to make sure that people can be successful as they move through the program. So for people we experienced before where people thought they had everything they needed and then they'd enter into 102 and suddenly realize that their self-study just didn't work because there were these holes here and there, or they had the pieces, but they had never had a chance to really put them all together.
And some people have taken delineation synthesis right after they take 101, just to get a little more comfortable with the basics and strengthen that before they go into 102.
Because really, everything in astrology rests on the basic fundamentals that are presented in 101. There's a few things maybe you could say in 102 that also are that core, but the stuff that you're going to, no matter what class, what direction, what type of thing you move into in your astrology, what direction you go in your astrology, that very first class gives you that core basis that you can build off of.
And so I'm going to get back to the original question here. If I want a certification, can I just start taking classes and then apply for the certification once I fill in the requirements? Kepler is going to keep track of the classes that you have taken. So if you have successfully passed any of these classes, as you take them, they will add up, and you don't need to then go back and apply for certification. If you complete the requirements for a certification, for a certificate, you will earn the certificate. So hopefully that answers that. And can you join separately to any certificate class at any time, or should it be continuous? You can take any of these classes a la carte, but that said, especially in the foundation certificate, the program builds on itself, and I would highly, highly recommend to take those classes in order, starting from 101 or delineation synthesis, then building into 102 where you're strengthening that. 103 adds in some lesser known techniques. So, and then 104, you're taking all of that and practicing with it. So technically, you can take them in any order, but there is a recommended flow that will help you to be more successful.
Yeah, because it's not just throwing a technique out at you. It's building from, where is it actually coming from? Because some techniques, you have to know something else before them. Other techniques are really good as a synergy together. And by having that process that you're building and step by step, it just makes it richer and deeper and layers upon layers, and it's fun.
And it makes sense, because if you don't do them in order, you might be missing a piece, and then the later techniques aren't going to make as much sense, and you just won't get as much out of them, and you may end up feeling confused. And while we are absolutely here to answer your questions, there's a logic to the way these things are put in place.
Omari's hand is up.
Omari.
Thank you. Hello, team. I apologize for being late. Left another volunteering event. To all of our guests, thank you for joining us. I'm Omari Martin, and I have the opportunity to serve as the board chair. And Alex has asked me to chime in on our conversation about research here at Kepler, and Alex is leading the path for us. And Alex mentioned qualitative research and quantitative research. Those are actual research methodologies And then within each of those areas, you have various research designs. And I think for astrology, qualitative research is a good fit, and the design is a case study. And also, as Alex was speaking, I agreed with everything she shared in that we really want to elevate astrology and to earn the respect that we deserve in higher education. And I think the primary pathway to that is for us to demonstrate that we can conduct scientific research according to scholarly research according to the scientific method. Alex is familiar with that, so I'm on Team Alex, and we can do that and get it done. We also recognize that yes, we are Kepler College, and while for the most part we are a teaching institution, that certainly doesn't mean we cannot or should not do research. Now, it will take some time, but I'm with Alex. I'm looking at the ideal scenario wherein we have some of our students who conduct scholarly research that would qualify to be published in a scholarly journal. Now, it may take us a couple of years to get there, but I know that Alex and other members on the team are on board with that, and we will work towards that. And also getting back to quantitative methodology. Even now, I am weeks away from completing my PhD. My methodology is quantitative. I don't know why I was thinking statistics, but I'm using multivariate analysis and all this other craziness. But it's actually a good thing because I'll be sharing that with Alex, and we will share that with students as appropriate so that we can build up Kepler. We are a very good astrology school, and we are very much about continuous improvement. And one other thing, Vanessa, if I could have a couple more minutes, when I joined in, you were talking about electional astrology. May I?
Oh, yes, please do, please.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I want to share with everyone, I actually teach electional astrology. That class begins on Sunday, uh, July 14th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Once again, electional astrology begins on July 14th, Sunday, July 14th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. In this class, we cover various aspects about electional astrology. So we go over some foundational things. For example, what are the rules? And for those of you who are interested in taking the course, I want to share with you now, electional astrology is in essence applied astrology. So if you're not familiar with the basics, and of course we offer that here at Kepler, you may find it a little more challenging. And for those of you who are familiar with the basics and have completed some of those earlier courses, I'm inviting you to come right on in. I recognize that's an option, but that's a good option. So some of you want to get married in life. Well, we cover that a little bit. We even talk about the royal wedding. And I just want to acknowledge my colleague, Vanessa. Vanessa helped me develop that part of the course. And we talk about the royal wedding. I think they're working with astrologers, but I just can't confirm it.
I think so too. I've been working on this, I mean, for a long time about about what astrologers are saying and
Yeah.
the techniques that they're not quite doing right. But yeah, thank you. And Amari, I'm so looking forward to working with you on action-based astrology, which um
I
I do my own
got you.
stuff. You got your own stuff.
Yeah,
And
I got you. Yeah, so I'm gonna follow your lead, Alex. So you help me, guide me so that I can fall right inside of what you're up to, and I can fully support that with what I bring to the table as someone who's trained to do scholarly research. And I also teach a second course at Kepler this summer, astropreneurship. And yes, it's exactly how it sounds, astrology and entrepreneurship put together into one. So the first thing we work on the front part of that class are business basics, your mission statement, your vision statement. First of all, even before that, why are you in business? What's your business model? What's your value proposition? Things of that nature. Should you be a sole proprietorship, LLC, so forth and so on? I share with you some tools to do budgeting and planning. We talk about ethical astrology, which includes some elements of risk management. And we can even touch on whether or not, which area inside of astrology is the best fit for you. So quick example, we have people who are professional entertainers. Okay, great. But some professional entertainers play sports, some are singers, some are musicians, and some are actors. So just because your chart speaks to you being a great astrologer, which area is a best fit for you? One area may be a good fit for you, and another area may not be. So in our profession, and I'm gonna call it a profession, we have many good astrologers, and they know their stuff, but they may not be the best person to teach it in a classroom. Just to give you an example. So with that, I want to yield, and I'm going to hang around if anyone has any follow-up questions for me about research, electional astrology, or astropreneurship. Thank you, Vanessa, and thank you, Alex.
Thank you for that great description of those summer classes. So here is what is offered here this summer. We've got Enid's fantastic chart calculation class, and that is exactly what it sounds like, where you get out the calculator and learn how to, construct the chart from nothing, from your date and your time. And we have Carol is going to offer astrology in sacred literature. Carol, do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Well, briefly, this is the Eastern literature, India, China, and the sacred literature as above, so below. The importance of the visions that they had in the literature about the sky. This one is a 5-week course, but I just got finished with the Western. And so they each are given at least once a year. So if you want the Eastern, that's this starting July 6th. The Western will probably be again in the winter term.
Great, thank you. And this is a beginner course, so you don't need any prerequisites for this. If you're waiting to go into 101 in the fall, you don't need to wait to sign up for a class. You can dive right in, and this would count as an elective towards your diploma. We also have the amazing Shu Yap offering her solar returns class. This is what is the snapshot of the potential for the year, and reading that chart. Absolutely fantastic. She pulls in a lot of traditional techniques, and that helps you to prioritize. It's, when you're looking at all of these charts, there can be a lot of moving pieces and a lot of different layers, and she really guides you through step by step how to look at what's important for the year and forget what's not important. It's very focusing, and I found it very helpful even in my own practice. This is an intermediate course, so you will want to have the natal or the equivalent before you go into that class. We then have Tamara McGillivray. She is offering astro mapping, the astrology of local space. This is a fantastic and super fun class that will help you get the most out of your town, out of your house, out of your, why do you like this grocery store but not that grocery store? Where are you going? Why do you hang out where you hang out? And how to maximize your use of the space to achieve your goals. It's very practical and also extreme.
I love her description of, you want to have your bed with your partner on a Venus, not on a Saturn.
Exactly. And when I found out that my coffee maker is exactly on my moon line, everything made sense, because it's not in the usual place. So I thought that was really interesting. Then we also have advanced progressions. This is an advanced course, so if you've already done all of the predictive techniques, this gets a little more granular. You can look even more focused. And Enid and Joseph Crane are offering family patterns and chart interpretation. This is a fascinating course where you are going to look at the charts of different family members and see how the patterns run through groups. Absolutely fascinating. You know, you wonder, like, how can astrology work if we're all different people and, you know, we have all these different charts and we're all affected by a particular event, or like a divorce or a marriage, or, you know, something that happens to a group. You can see it's unbelievable how the universe will conspire to bring people together with charts that resonate with each other and balance each other. Super interesting. Enid, do you want to say something about that?
Well, the fun part about it is Joseph also brings his background in family dynamics. So you have both the astrology side of it and you have the psychological, you know, the outer cultural side of it. And playing with that intermix is really fun. It's really interesting to start thinking about family order, you know, birth order, and how that appears in the chart and how it goes through generations, where you can see, like even just in the elements, you can see these repeating patterns. It's great fun
It's
and very useful when you're having clients and they're having issues.
It's super fun. And if you can see how the different individuals in the family relate to each other, you know, by tearing it back to the astrology, you really, I know for me, that made my ability to be compassionate with my family members increased enormously. We have here The Business of the Business by Marie O'Neill, fantastic fundamentals of life coaching course. And we have Omari's electional astrology. Rick Levine will be giving Introduction to Harmonic Aspects. That begins July 14th. Nadia Shah is going to offer YouTube for astrologers. This is one of the classes in the professional development track. You know, now that you're an astrologer, what do you want to do with it? You know, what is your what is your presence on YouTube? And Inga is offering Astrological Heritage. Do you want to say something about that? You're muted.
Of course I am. So this one for this term will actually be Rome to the Renaissance. The medieval to modern is another module. So this is the one for this time. And we're talking from the Roman emperors all the way up to the Renaissance period, when everyone had court astrologers. And then after that, in the third module, it's kind of all downhill.
So Inga, is this the wrong
Yeah, Mary and I are working on it.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you for catching that.
No problem.
And Omari has spoken about the entrepreneurship. We have even more. There's delineation synthesis. There is mundane astrology for political elections. So I guess Lee offers this every 4 years. We obviously are in an election year and everybody is going to be dying to know what is going to happen in the fall. I have also signed up for this class. I'm trying to take it, so I don't know if I'll see any of my other instructor friends here, but
Well,
yes.
she has been tracking the elections for years and has such good information of that it should be really fun.
And
It's advanced. What would that require, Vanessa?
the advanced courses, you're really going to have to understand all of the basic chart potential that, you know, is covered in the foundation track, and you're also going to have to understand the predictions and the movement. So absolutely good point. This is an advanced course. This is not the shallow end of the pool at all. So we are going to use all of what we know so far and put it to practical use in this very important year. Then we have Tamara McGillivray and Cindy McKeon are going to do astro mapping for beginners. So this is a beginner course. Understanding, you know, the where, how does the chart, you know, put its signature onto the earth. And we have applied rectification with Carol here. We have this intermediate course here, Essential Dignities and Debilities. This is another fantastic course. So if you understand the planets and the houses and you've got the basics under your belt, the Essential Dignities class is a deeper dive into how capable or comfortable the planets are to carry out their duties.
And judging from the number of people who took his class that were at NORWAC this year and were just raving about it, it should be a lot of fun.
He's a great instructor, a great presenter, and he has also written a book about essential dignities. He's an expert on the topic and a lot of fun. Relationships 101. This starts in August. And do you want to say something about that, Karen or Inga?
Just it's exactly what it looks like. It's the very basics that are involved in forming relationships and whether they're going to succeed or not, etc. So it's a 5-week course just on relationships.
And it's an intermediate course. So what would students need to already have under their belt to join?
It helps if you have, well, actually, if you've gone through the basic 101 to 104, you're going to be okay in here because we're not using any of the movement techniques to come up with the basic interactions. So it's intermediate in that you need the basics.
Okay, great. Thank you.
It's basic chart comparison, not advanced synastry.
Right, right.
Excellent. And we also have these two classes that are part of the new Astrology of Healing certificate. This is a very exciting program that's being developed by Lee Lehman, and she's offering elements, humors, and the temperaments. And then we have Kira Sutherland with her course on Melothesia, if I got that right, astrological anatomy, and how to understand which planets go with which parts of the bodies. You know, for thousands of years, astrology was medicine. They were not, you know, there was no way to differentiate the two. If you were a doctor, you were an astrologer. And this is a step into that material. I think that course is not yet in the store, so keep an eye out for it, but it will begin on July 21st. And so for more information, the summer term, you can enroll at store.KeplerCollege.org. And here are a few free courses and quizzes, so you can go into the Babylonian mathematics, and there's a placement quiz if you're not sure where you fit. If you've got some knowledge, but you don't know how much or where the holes are, you can take the quiz, and this will give you a recommendation about how to, you know, enter into the best classes for you. And there's also a free introductory to astrology course, which will give you a taste of the basics, which is, you know, what are the aspects, you know, learning your glyphs, what are the planets involved, and you can take that. And there's always free webinars. So this is a way to join the group and see, you know, meet some of the instructors, meet some of the people in the community talking about their specialties. Very exciting, free. So anybody can come, and those are offered on Saturdays. Am I forgetting anything? Am I missing anything? Oh, yes, I am. So there is the Toastmasters. Kepler College has a Toastmasters group. So if you want to hone your speaking skills, I'm going to say, Mary, do you want to say something about Toastmasters?
Sure. Thanks, Vanessa. I have been a member of Toastmasters for the last year and a half, going on 2 years, and I am on the executive team, and it has been an amazing experience to hone my public speaking skills, develop my confidence, definitely expand my astrological network. In fact, we just had a contest showcase and I placed second. I'm very pleased about that. And it was judged by a panel of luminaries in the astrology world that it was an audience that only Kepler College Astrologers Toastmasters could bring together and offer. So the opportunities that have been afforded to me by my participation in it have come and have been a blessing, and have only happened because I've been in that club. So I highly recommend it. And it has impelled me to apply to be a speaker at an astrological conference next year. So if you have any interest in developing your public speaking skills, whether it be for astrology or otherwise, I recommend joining the club. You can drop in as a guest too. You can send an inquiry, and we invite anyone who is Toastmasters curious to participate. I can't say enough good things about it.
Thank you. Yes, we are all very, very proud of Mary.
You have a question saying, is Toastmasters in person only?
No, this is all online. This is a weekly Zoom meeting. So I know a lot of Toastmasters prior to the pandemic were exclusively in person, but with the shift online, it works perfectly for Kepler because we are an online platform. So we have members from all over the world. And
Okay,
we have our
like-
meetings
You
are
like that answer? Good. Okay.
We have a question here, Ray Health, would Reiki and the chakras figure in here? I do not know the content particularly of this exact class because it hasn't offered yet. But I don't believe it is Reiki and the chakras. I believe it is more the actual body and what planets or what, significators would let you know what part of the body needs attention and what kind of attention. And there's also the Uranian astrology group that meets, I think, every third Tuesday of the month. And so I think anybody can join that group if you are interested in Uranian astrology. For more information, go to KeplerCollege.org or visit the Kepler College store. The online classrooms are at KeplerClasses.org. Those are on the Moodle platform, and you can contact info@KeplerCollege.org for more information. And does anybody have anything they want to add, or did I miss any questions here?
You can mention Kepler has a lot of YouTube good shows, videos.
We have a fantastic
Free.
YouTube channel where all of the past interviews, they have the Leaders in Astrology series. There are so many great interviews with renowned astrologers and people talking about the techniques. Really a lot of fun. There's tons and tons and tons of content on the YouTube channel, and it's growing, always growing. The next 101 classes begin in the fall. I think they begin in September. I don't know the exact date. Does anybody know the exact date?
September 9th.
September 9th. Thank you, Carol.
Well done, Carol.
It's my birthday.
Oh, that's easy to remember.
That's why I remembered it.
Let's see. There was a question here. What was the free class after? Did you answer that?
I did, yes. It's a webinar given by Dorothy Oha on the USA Solar Return for 2024. And I encourage everyone to go to the main Kepler College website, KeplerCollege.org, and you can find out what the upcoming webinars are and register for them there.
Great.
And these are all for the community.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or anything anyone wants to add here?
Can you hold the room open for me and Amari to nerd out for a minute about research? Is that okay? And maybe Mary wants to join us. Is that okay?
What was the question?
Sure, Alex. I'm not sure. I can set up a separate room for you because I don't think that we can have a private session.
I think Amari and I need to nerd out.
Yeah,
for a
just send
minute.
me a Zoom link. I'll meet. I'm available. So just however it works out, I'm available.
Okay. I'll send
Okay.
you the Zoom link.
Bye,
Okay.
everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you for coming, everyone. And I hope to see you in the classes.
Yes.
Take care, everyone.
And you can probably tell that all of the instructors and the people in the back end were always having these kinds of conversations of, oh, shall we dig this? What about this? So if you have ideas as well for us, of things you'd like to see or hear about, don't be shy to email info.
Absolutely. We are around and absolutely here to help answer questions and guide you through the program.